Should be there now. Yes. Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. I fixed it. Always got to be something. So yes, the mic, I don't know, the settings got off. I was using a video on another, I was using it for the backstream. I'm so discombobulated right now. I was using it for something else and somehow it got all screwed up. But I'm getting slightly better at fixing stuff. It still took me a minute. All right. For some reason, it just wasn't finding the mic, and then it wasn't taking any other audio. And we worked it out. All right, where do we want to start? Let's see who's in. That'll help me settle my brains. Angels Don't Fall is in. Vivian Massier, Andon Croft, Prelim Minimal. Black lines and the blue bit look odd. Oh, the eye. Okay, yes, the eye. Oh, I should cover that. I'll cover that one first so you don't have to wonder. I think Andon Croft is getting the drift on that one there. I think he's sussed it out. Oh, not too many of you guys in. Dark Wolf's is in. Dark Wolf, I'm blaming my audio problem on you, on your backstage lounge. Somehow the settings got changed. I don't know how. You know, I checked the video, and I'm like, okay, the video's working. I'm sure the audio will be fine. And then I turned off the backstage lounge, and the audio was not fine, but the video was like, ugh. Sweetheart, 11's in. Colorado Skywatch. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shari is not in again. Maybe she goes to bed in a timely fashion or something when she's in Canada. Let's see. Yeah, what happened to Shari? Hope she's still in the timeline. It seems like, I don't know, was really tired yesterday. I don't know if we got some shifty shifts or what. Joe Blor's in. Austin 108. Ann Gaynor. Elizabeth Paradis. I think that's everybody. Yeah, so I can look at my OBS and it'll have the little zigzaggy line that tells me if the audio is working. So that's helpful. At least it lets me know. If I remember to check that before I go live, I can usually see if there's a problem. Sometimes I did it a couple times, but I did today, thankfully. So there's that. Everything's been all wanky, but at least I did check. I mean, it's a lot better than me yapping on for 10 minutes and then looking back here, finding out you didn't hear any of it. That is super irritating. Okay, so what is going on with the thumbnail? You know, I'm sorry. It's actually kind of creepy to hit you with this. But apparently they have artificial, what the heck was it? Corneas now? So last time we did the, that they would take a tooth and then stick it in your eye and use that as a cornea. And then they would put the lens in there. And that was the only thing I found for artificial corneas. Like, when was that? It was only about 6 months ago. But now they have this thing. I actually have so many on here. I don't know where it is. I have some from last month. I have some from this month. Where did it go? Must be on here. Yes, keratoprosthesis. This is from Mark Tyus. That's one of the reasons I need to find it, because I had to say who told me about it. Keratoprosthesis. Now, the weird thing is I went to the wiki for this, and it has nothing on the history. There is nothing on the history, like when did they come up with it. I'm really suspicious it wasn't there last time I looked, because I did look for artificial corneas before I didn't find this. But there was an article on it from 2007. And then when you go to Wiki, and they have all these links under it, and there was like 10 links, and like 9 of them were dead links. So this is that. I mean, I guess it's been on there so long that 90% of the links on the Wiki were dead. Like those articles or whatever they were linking to were removed. Only one of them was still live, and that one said 2007. So that's 15 years ago that they've been doing this. in the current timeline. And basically, if your cornea is not good anymore, they have this artificial cornea that makes you look like RoboCop. And this is the thing. It's this little... I don't know. It's crazy. So Mark Tyus found that, and part of it I'm really suspicious is I just don't think that that was there. I mean, I think in the old days, if you put metal in your eye, it would just get rejected right away. But now it's not. And that was the reason they were using the tooth last time I checked, is to avoid rejection. Now they're saying that they used to use an artificial, like they used to use a tooth as an artificial cornea when I did the tooth eye one. That goes back to 1960 now. They were taking teeth and sticking it in your eye as an artificial cornea in 1960. I'm like, no. So I don't remember it being done that early last time I checked either, 1960. Me. Yeah, it's been a kind of a little bit weird week. I've been the last couple days, like since Monday, I've been all spaced out. I almost pulled out and crashed into a car, but didn't. Luckily, that guy honked. I mean, it was dark. I couldn't see good. He had a black car. I mean, there was things, but frankly, I just did not look really carefully like I should have. And then later that day, like 2 times, somebody almost got run over because they just walked out into the street. Like one of them walked out into the street and I almost hit that person, but I was watching. And then another time, somebody was riding their bike around and a car to the side of me almost hit him. And then I was getting a little close to hitting him because I saw that guy slow down. I had slowed down, but suddenly this bicycle just starts riding around in the street. So it's been a little crazy. That was all on Monday. But I noticed today when I was driving here, I was just like waiting for the light and I'm like, it's green. You can go now, Eva. Like wakey wakies. So it's always been suspicious when the wiki article doesn't have much information. Yeah, I am just really suspicious though that, if something has little history and kind of appears, maybe, yeah, I'm really suspicious. I mean, if they putting an artificial cornea in your eye, that should have been big news. There should have been a lot of info on that, at least a basic history of when it was done. I mean, I was able to find more info just Googling. Space out. Yeah, so definitely spaced out. So after I almost hit somebody on Monday, I'm like, concentrate harder. So that's might be why I did not hit that crazy homeless person. Dizzy and tired. Yeah, I was really tired. Yeah, I was really tired. And, I still have to do work, so I can't just, like, stop. I did get my hair cut, in case you didn't notice. The front is still long, but the back is all shaved off. I was trying to get a less Karen-style cut, but I don't think it worked, because now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, I still look like Karen. Oh, well, what are you going to do? I can't stop looking like Karen, because it's just how I look. Okay, this one came up from DIY at the Backstage Lounge. Heather, you know who you are. Apparently this has been making the rounds on TikTok. It's a new creepy bug. Well, it's not that creepy, but it's a new interesting bug. Open a new image. So, yeah, they're kind of cool. And here's the TikTok. Make it larger. Thanks for this. So people are saying they're like mini fairies. So they're not huge, but they're not tiny. I found these in the Cambodian jungle. So hopefully we can play a little TikTok clip without having a big problem. So they're kind of cool because they're so bouncy. Alright, so that was pretty fast. So they're supposedly Flattidae are a family of fulguroid plant hoppers they are cosmopolitan in distribution. Heck, they're cosmopolitan? What does that even mean? Cosmopolitan. And are distinguished from others in the superfamily. Let's just see. Alright, we're on the wiki. By a combination of characters. By a combination of characters? Isn't that a combination of characteristics? Who wrote this? Oh, these things are awesome, but again, look at the wiki. I don't know. There's all this, but there's no... Like all plant hoppers, they suck phloem sap of plants. We're going to get some other kind of sap besides the phloem sap. Used to just be sap, but now we have phloem sap. Whenever they start differentiating, I always feel like another one's going to show up. Some species are known to communicate with vibrations through the plant stems. Communication may be with mates or with ants that tend to the nymphs. Okay, so now they call in their protector dogs. Insects are smarter than chimps used to be, protecting them and gathering honeydew secretions. Adults of some species have brightly colored forewings, which are tougher and are known as tegmina, unlike the membranous hindwings that are used for flight. Which one of these is... like, is that big pile of white spaghetti the wings, or is it these red thingies? Which one are the wings? Can I tell? Let's see. Open image in new tab. Well, that's really not useful. Okay, let me try again. So we saw the white things can spring really far. Are they the flying parts? So I'm kind of looking at this. So I'm like, these are the same thing as that, or is that something else? It looks like they're the same thing because they keep showing them together. Okay, but like, so they're flat leaf bugs. So they're both awesome. So how is this and this the same thing? Like, what stage is it? Because this one is all red, so it's not just that this white stuff's hiding under these wings. So they're making them so they're awesome at all stages now, I guess. We'll have to do some more research. I just found out about that one like 15 minutes ago from Heather, so didn't really have much time to check on it. Alright, let's see what's going on here. Also strange when a new technology is said to go back much further. You know, they're always slipping back further and further. What is this? I'm hearing all kinds of jokes like, pretty soon the laser will be invented by the caveman at the rate we're going. Well, the cavemen had a primitive form of laser where they used quartz dug up from a mountain, and then they used lightning from a volcano. You know, like, we're gonna get it. Yeah, and you're talking about dizziness. Whenever you say that, I kind of feel like there's two kinds of dizzy. Like, there's the kind of dizzy where everything is really, like, say you sit in a chair and it spins around, and then you get really dizzy, and you're like, you know, that's one kind of dizzy that, you know, if you had vertigo or something, you would feel. Then there's this other kind of dizzy where it just feels a little, like, my brain feels a little shaky or something. I don't really feel like I'm gonna fall over or anything, but yet I'm not quite settled in place. And so when people say dizzy with the Mandelas, and especially when they say a little dizzy, I always think it's that. I just assume that that's what you mean, like mild. So you know, if you don't mean what I just said, let me know, because I just realized that's what I always assume every time I read that. Because every time I read it, it reminds me of the way I feel sometimes, just a little. There was a few times when I was sitting there, like, doing something, and I did kind of feel like I moved. Just a few times, like, all of a sudden, you know, except for I didn't. And that was kind of weird. But it's only ever happened when I was sitting still doing something where it wouldn't be dangerous. That I've never felt anything like that when I was driving, or so maybe whatever's happening has to happen when your mind is really settled, or maybe it waits until you're not busy. I don't know. All right. Where should I even start on these? Okay, I'll do the. We're doing creepy stuff. I might as well do sort of creepy stuff. You can't see the picture. You can't see the pictures? Wait, let me see. You didn't see the bugs? I shouldn't be. You know what? I think I'm too big. There, that'll help. That might have blocked it. I gotta remember to make, so that was the fuzzy ones, and then the let's see, well, you saw that one. The red ones, these were the red ones. I think you could see that one. Don't know why it's going like that. This is a high-tech show, I'm telling you. Oh yeah, because all these creepy red ones were way over here on the side. So yeah, these are the red ones, and then those, and they're showing up with these fuzzy white ones. So that's why I'm like, what? You can see over here. Okay, so hopefully that covers that. Make it big again. And then the thumbnail was that, was the, keratoprosthesis, which is the RoboCop eye. I feel like we're really getting towards the RoboCop now, because there's all these implants and stuff. And if you go back in time, they've now got really high-tech looking, 100 years ago, really high-tech looking arm prostheses and stuff. I mean, when I was a kid, they used to show you'd have like a peg leg, right? Be wood with a hook. Now they have all this. We've had some of those on before, so I didn't want to go over them again. But I saw those this week again. I'm like, that again. All right, so that was the TikTok one. Okay. Now, I have been told that this is an old Mandela, but it is new to me. There's actually 2 Mandelas in one, and I'm covering it anyway because somebody on Retcon put it up there. You know what? And I didn't even give that person any credit on here. I didn't write it. I know why. Okay. They were talking about the Cats. In Cats, there is this song called, and they remembered it as Memories. So this is not actually my Mandela, and I don't really know Cats that well, but I guess that this song was in there. I can't play it because of copyright. I don't know how it goes, and I'm not going to try to sing it, but they remembered this as Memories in Cat. But when I heard, oh, Memories changed to Memory, the song, I thought they meant the Barbara Streisand song, Memories, and I remembered this as Memories. Of course, I remember her name as Barbara Streisand, B-A-R-B-A-R-A, not Barbara. So that kind of freaks me out too. So her name changed, her song, I swear to God, this was Memories. So now we've got 2 of them that changed to Memory. So if you're kind of old, like, you might remember this one. I mean, like, I remember when I was a kid, this used to, you know, somehow I feel chicken about trying to singing it right now, but so that's 2. So what's the deal? Like, why is Memories changing to Memory? And even this Cats one, I can't attest to it, but quite a number of people on Retcon did also remember it as plural. And I'm quite positive the Streisand one did. I've been told now that that is an old Mandela, but it's new for me. Who was it? It was not me that started that saying that the fastest way to find new Mandelas is to look at old Mandelas, because you shift into a different timeline. The different timeline has a different stack of Mandelas. So it wouldn't be the first time that's happened to me. And that's probably one of the reasons, like all these shows that just grab up old Mandelas from 3 years ago and package them really nice and then get all the views on YouTube. And a lot of those will still be new to you, even if they're old. Slightly faintly at moments and slightly staggering. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not good. So they do have this thing called Epley maneuvers, if you don't know about it. But basically it's, and I'm really suspicious about this one too, but it's been around for a while. But you basically, the story now is that vertigo from the ear is caused by crystals sloshing around in there, and they have this series of motions, like you lay this way, then you lay that way, and it'll actually like shepherd the floaty crystals all through the ear canals and out, and then people do often feel better, and it's like it takes like 15 minutes, and you can do it at home, and it's totally safe, and it's free. So definitely look it up on the Google if you have any kind of vertigo symptoms. The other thing to look into is if you're low on B1, because if you're low on B1, then and a lot of people are vitamin B1, the eye won't track quite right. It kind of slows down the nerve in the eye, and then when the eye doesn't track right, then you can have of symptoms of vertigo. And a lot of times the B1 thing is misdiagnosed as vertigo, because the minute you say you're dizzy, they go, oh, it's your ear. And they don't check the B1. Remember Barbara? Oh, you remember without the third A, huh? Because it's spelled wrong. It's spelled wrong. See, it wasn't spelled wrong for me. But, you know, the timeline I came from, like in the, let's say the 90s. I would say it started late 90s. Suddenly there was this trend of misspelling, like spelling wrong, like weird alternate spellings of names kicked in. And I'm like, these millennials and their crazy naming that they would spell everything all weird. I'm like, this is weird, whatever, But what's weird now is that those crazy misspelled names are everywhere. Like, old people have them. I'm like, no, this started in the 90s. But that was how it started for me. So for me, Barbara only had the one spelling. Nobody spelled it wrong, So for me, there shouldn't be anybody younger, like older than a millennial with a whacked out spelling. But now there are. They went backwards. Sweetheart 11 remembers. Yeah, it's not memories, it's memory. Cats was memory. Yep, they both changed. I finally found one that a bunch of people remember. I saw an ad on Hula saying eyes by Meta. And it was for a meta optometrist and how they could do all these new things and new things to come. I do feel like we might be like just on the edge of a huge explosion of new capabilities. So it is an interesting time to be alive. But then again, I've kind of felt like that for a number of years. Okay, so like when's it gonna hit? I don't know, Maybe we need to split out whatever we gotta do. But Moneybag 73 is an implant. Well, he's definitely alternate timeline from me, but he probably thinks I'm alternate timeline from him. And I've been told that my spelling of my name changed on Reddit, so I'm definitely alternate timeline for a lot of people. But more like a feeling of disorientation. That is a little bit more like how I feel. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'm just a little extra spaced out, or I just can't quite... It's almost like my brain is like kind of... It's not from my ears. So my body is fine. It knows what to do. It's on autopilot, holding me up properly. It's not confused, but it's... something in there is a little... So, yeah, I just put that up because you can grab this Barbara. sounds like porn now, VRA, from YouTube really easily, and listen to it, see if that's, so you could see though that it is, the name of it is Memory. Track on Memories. That's interesting. So the album is still, so I never got the album, so there would be no reason for me to be confusing the album with the song. I'm one of those people that was really poor and I just listened to songs on the radio, so I have almost no albums. Like literally I've only bought from that era, I only have like less than, maybe probably less than 5 albums that I ever paid for, because you could listen to it on the radio, so it just seemed like a silly thing to spend money on. Okay, so the album is Memories. So why would you have an album as Memories and the song? Anyway, I mean, if the album changed names, I really couldn't comment because I just didn't buy the album. But I know the song was always with an S. Interesting. All right, so there's the Cats one, just in case anybody has any doubts. So Memories to Memory. Huh. So memories are set things of the past, one would imagine, although we now know that they're not. Memory is more of a concept of what's in your head, and I'm not really sure how to suss out if that means anything or not, but it is interesting that 2 songs changed in the same way. That's what caused mine ear crystals, the maneuver. Yeah, so for me, it's just for a second. It's not like every time I move, I feel shaky, right? So if you, every time you move, or then you have it, then I would definitely try the Epley maneuver that someone put on here. They're just this, you just lay one way and then you kind of lay another way. And it's like really easy. You can just do it while you're watching TV. You can do it when you're sleepy. It doesn't really take any effort. We're on a different timeline. I remember the misspelling craze. My mom at the Star is Born album and was annoyed at the missing A. Yeah. Calcification of the inner ear could cause tinnitus. All I know is like a huge chunk of people have tinnitus now. I don't know anybody who's really solved the tinnitus thing. I mean, from a spiritual perspective, some people feel like you're really just hearing stuff that's there, like frequencies and stuff. I don't know, but there's definitely something weird about it. Maybe it's to train you to not listen, like to be good at controlling your perception. Okay, so Christmas is coming up, and I think you guys remember the upside down Christmas tree thing that Kit, it was a while ago now. It was before the pandemic now, I'm pretty sure. So it was 2020. My gosh, the way time flies. Okay, so what, like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, there was this whole upside down Christmas tree thing, and we're like, oh, you people are crazy. Now I'm trying to remember, did we actually, I do not remember it being a centuries old tradition. Do you remember it being a centuries old tradition? Because I remember it being a new goofy fad. So speaking of backwards in time, now we have weird behaviors, not just tech. This is from 2021. Was that when you kept like, oh, maybe it was. Maybe it was. No, I don't think it was during the pandemic that we had all those upside down. Was it? I'm not sure. I'm just thinking because this is from December 2021. So it would be during the pandemic, but I remember it being earlier. Maybe it was already running for a couple of years before they wrote this. The so-called trend has actually been around for centuries. Don't panic if you notice trees hanging from the ceiling. You're not in the upside down. I don't even know what that is. This trend has blown up in the last few years. You might think that it is a more recent way of fashioning a traditional Christmas tree, but inverted trees have actually been around for centuries. If you look into any popular, recognizably Christmassy tradition, like tasting candy canes, you will see a complicated story behind how customs get their meanings. The symbol of the upside-down Christmas tree may have begun in the 7th century. Folklore credits Benedictine monk Boniface. According to the legend, Boniface saw a group of pagans worshipping an oak tree, and in response, he cut down the tree, and in his place grew a fir. Okay. Then Boniface cut down the fir and turned it upside down, using its triangular shape as a way of explaining the Holy Trinity to the pagans. Okay, that just sounds like really lame story. I mean, is it me, or is it just like reaching? Like, if you can't come up with like a really good story, so you just make up some crap story, that's what that sounds like. But it was southern Poland where the trend really thrived in a tradition called Podlasniczek. Polish people use fruit, nuts, and sweets wrapped in paper, blah, 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 to decorate a spruce hanging upside down from the ceiling in the center of the room called the spruce. It was the poorer families that had small rooms. They had no space, so they hung it upside down to save space. Brunner also theorizes we can blame the advent of plastered ceilings for why we no longer see hanging trees, because now you don't have any rafters to hang the trees from like they did in the old days. So now they're just saying it was making a comeback. Anyway, I don't know. It just... typical. Never heard of ups... Yeah, exactly. And did anybody say, oh, and here's the history of the upside down Christmas tree? No, they did not do that. I'm gonna move my feet around. This chair is not quite as comfy as my couch at home. So 7th century now, so it's not 100 years. It's like 7th century. That's like 1,000 years or more. Everything upside down. Traffic lights, Christmas trees, and rib cage. Yeah. So, upside down world. Yeah, Shari. I thought, well, maybe she's just tired, but maybe she's at a different time zone and it doesn't work for her now. So if she's in Canada, let me think. So if she's on my side of Canada, like the West Coast, she would be in my time zone. But if she's over on the East Coast, then it's like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. So that might be part of the problem. Let's see. You're talking about apple cider vinegar. Add a tablespoon to OJ. Tastes great. I'll have to try that. It's one of the reasons I haven't tried apple cider is because, you know, it tastes bad. But OJ is the great hider. It's the best thing for hiding yucky flavors. I mean, certainly it has its limits, but it might be worth a shot. All right, so that's that. Memories. Okay. I'm pretty sure we covered the viral cancer. And first it showed up in the Tasmanian Devils. And I swear I watched a whole big old documentary on it. It was a while ago that was the first ever viral cancer, a cancer that spreads from animal to animal, was in Tasmanian devils. Then a little while ago on here, I said, oh, there's another one now that's always been there since eons, forever, since before they even knew when it showed up. And now there's this viral, not too dangerous, like venereal cancer in dogs. So there's the viral cancer that dogs get. Okay, but now suddenly there's another one. And I did say, okay, we got two viral cancers coming up. Not that I like the idea of viral cancers, but now there's another one. And this is supposedly new. But, you know, I have this on the list of possible backwards in time things. But, because I just saw this today. Contagious cancer spreading among several species of shellfish was 2023, but this one is 2019. So this would be even before I looked last time at viral cancers and found that one in the doggies. Wait, cancer can be contagious. Yes. So far, scientists have only observed contagious cancers in 3 types of animals: Tasmanian devils, dogs, and shellfish. Now, I'm pretty sure the shellfish is new. None can be transmitted to humans. Viruses such as human papillomo. Why does that word sound different now? I thought it was like papillomavirus. That's it. Papillomavirus cause cancer, but in these cases, it's the virus that spreads, not the cancer cells. So now that they mention it, that is close. So it used to be the virus spreads and the virus can give you cancer, but doesn't always. But now it's the cancer itself spreads. I don't really quite get how that's even possible. What the flesh clumps onto you and takes root. How does that even work? In the old days, if it wasn't your DNA, your body would reject it, but I guess not now. I'm gonna have to look into this. How does it even get? So, like, your hand touches someone else who has viral cancer on their hand, so their cell somehow falls onto my finger, and like, how does it get going? I mean, like, does it have to get past the skin? Do I have to have like a cut in my hand, and then it just kind of attaches to the other cells and starts growing? Like, why doesn't my body go, you do not have Eva's DNA, get out? Like, why would I not boot that puppy? In the old days, that's what would happen, and that's why there was no viral cancer. There could have been viral viruses, but 4 separate species of bivalves, clams, mussels, and cockles. The cells could travel through seawater from one animal to another to spread the disease. Surprisingly, the researchers found that some contagious cancer cells could infect a different species. I'm assuming it's clams, mussels, and cockles. So what, am I going to go swimming and get like clam cancer on my hand or something? I'm like, I am not liking these new Mandelas. Different mussel species, blah. So there's gonna be a new thing. Oh, the mussels harvest are threatened, blah blah blah, and then there'll be a big song and dance, and then next year we'll find 67 new species of mussels that have always been here the whole time anyway. That's kind of how it goes so far. Even Chilean mussels in the Pacific and French mussels in the Atlantic. Okay, mussels in the Pacific and mussels in the Atlantic had identical cancer cells. So the cells had traveled 7,000 miles. So if I get in the swimming pool with somebody with cancer, do I risk them like giving it to me? That's the thing with this viral cancer. I don't like it. Or are we just going to find out that like a whole bunch of cancers, turns out they were viral all along, and some people have weak immune systems or blah, blah, blah. This is a very interesting storyline brewing over here. Now I'm worried about eating seafood. It's okay to eat seafood. The cancers are specific to shellfish and do not appear to pose a danger to humans who eat them. In humans, cancers originate within a person's body, and as far as we know, can't spread to other people except in rare cases such as through organ transplants or during pregnancy. I have not heard that pregnancy cancer spread. So if the baby gets cancer, you can get cancer. If you get cancer, you can spread it to the baby. And I guess that's not that much of a stretch, but... Researchers think that shellfish are more prone to transmissible cancer because they live in the ocean where malignant cells can easily travel. See, what I don't get is this cell, it's not a single cell organism. It was a organism that lived in a clam. So it did not have its own mechanism for like collecting food and excreting waste, because the clam has a circulatory system that does all that for the cell. So if this cell is suddenly removed from its clammy home and floating in the water, it should die right away. I mean, that's how it always was. If some of your blood bleeds into the ocean, the blood doesn't just keep living, traveling for hundreds of miles and then still alive to infect other people. It dies because it doesn't have all of the stuff that it needs to survive when it's ripped out of your body, right? Now, if you have a single-celled organism that's like an algae, those are designed to have a sturdy exterior membrane and food gathering techniques and stuff. So it's set up for survival all on its own. But I don't get how these cancer cells could just like survive out there. Like, are our cells just floating around surviving for hours out in the ocean? That's another thing I just don't get it. I mean, shouldn't they be figuring out how these cells could live so long ripped outside of their host animal? There are parallels between how cancer spread in the ocean and how cancer cell metastasize within humans. Oh, so in humans, first of all, it's still in the bloodstream. It's still getting the nutrients it would get from the bloodstream if it was stuck on the side of the vein versus in the blood. One would imagine it's only traveling for like 3 minutes until it snags somewhere. You know, so it's not metastasization in a human is not cancer inside the same body is not even 5% as weird as it floating out in the ocean like that. I mean, I just feel like this is like badly written science fiction because there's so many things that aren't logical in it. But yet there it is since 2019. Quite a lot of my customers have died within 3 months of being diagnosed with cancer. Diagnosed with cancer, and not one died of cancer. The treatment killed them. Ugh. One woman refused the treatment, and she lived years with cancer. Do you watch Matt at Quantum? He always says cake in a lake. Cake in a lake. I feel like I've shifted or something. I don't remember Matt ever saying cake in a lake. Ever. I'll probably go watch his next video and he'll say it. I don't remember ever saying that. I've watched a lot of his videos. One thing I like about his shows is there's no video, so I can just work and listen to him yapping. Like, there's a lot of really good video on YouTube, but you have to watch it. And because of that, I can't do work and be watching the video. Anyone notice during the daytime more lights being left on all over the place? Light, like where? Every person lives, not everyone dies. Zombie tagline. That's kind of cute. I like that. More recently, he says cake in a lake. No ads. It's all. What does he even mean by that? I'm not sure I get it. All right, so yeah, that's weird. I've only covered. Okay, this one is from user ZX85I1ZY5E, who is commenter on the channel. I have noticed that every time something crazy happens in some country, I don't know if it's because we start looking at their flags or being forced to see their flags, but somebody comes and goes, wait, that flag changed. This one kind of fits with something, though. So what this person remembers, let's just do this first. Let me just do some images. Israeli flag. Okay, so it's interesting because we do have a couple versions here. And what they're saying, and I am not 100% on this, but I will say one reason. I do think that it used to be more like this color. And now it's this color. Okay, and here it is against the sky. And why did they take a picture of it against the sky? Well, if you look at the flag, it's supposed to be the color of the dark blue sky. So like when the sky is really deep, deep blue, that is supposed to be the color of the Israeli flag. Oh, this is weird because I just looked at this earlier and that's what they said and I wrote it down. All right, let me just find it. It better still be on here because I swear I just looked this up like hours ago. And it was the wiki. I even wrote it on here that it was the wiki. Did I? Yes, wiki. I wrote it on there. So sky, there. The blue color is described as dark sky blue. Okay, so I think I assume what they mean is when the blueness is really blue, blue, blue. And you guys probably remember that I've said several times lately that I feel like the sky got bluer. Like it's a deeper kind of a blue. Over time that's happened, but also I do feel like the last year I looked up there and went, oh, that's even more blue. You know, why is it that people keep looking up there and going, wow, the sky is so blue today? But it's not just today. It's like the bluest you ever saw it over and over again. And then it happens again next month and it's again the bluest you ever saw it. And I think that's why people look up there and went, holy crap, it's so blue. So in their mind they're thinking, well, it must have been this blue before and I forgot. But it really is so blue. So if their flag is supposed to be the darkest dark blue of the sky, that if the sky gets bluer, then so must their flag, right? Unless that storyline that's what the color is off of changes, which that's also a possibility. So although I am not really 100% on the Israeli flag looking a lot darker, when I read that it's supposed to be the dark blue sky, I am quite sure that the sky itself has gotten a lot darker for me. So I feel like and I like the way there's a tie between the two there. So I thought I would mention it. How this plus this plus this kind of ties through. So if one thing changes and a bunch of stuff strung on it, did those all change? I mean, is it just all strung together like that? So, yeah, okay. So going back to this subject of the dying people, This one's tough because I'm looking at it, and I did feel that a lot of people died in 2019 also, like people that weren't very nice people died then. Since then, more of the people that died were people I think more highly of. So I sort of, even some of my wonder, I'm like, maybe they went to the better earth already and I'm still stuck here, because some of those people quite possibly were nicer than I am. I mean, who knows what's in their deepest mind, but they seem like pretty awesome people. So I do kind of wonder, I'm like, hopefully they just went to an awesome earth and an awesome timeline, and this one sucks too much for their wonderful selves. But I don't know. But I'm kind of curious if, like, you saw any patterns on the type of person that has left in the last 3 months. I don't actually know a lot of people who died just recently. But I am wondering if, again, it's just that the timelines are so shifty that people are just going to their place, and so we can't just have a whole bunch of people keel over and not have a reason. Like, humans want a reason. They'd rather just say, okay, it's after effects of COVID. So we got 2 storylines now. You could pick the one you like better. You can either say that mean old COVID has damaged these people and then they died, or you could say the mean old shots have damaged these people and they died. And then if you don't like any of those 2, you can say it's 5G or chemicals in the foods and stress, or there's a bunch of others, but the 2 popular ones are the shots or the COVID. It may just be that it's so shifty right now that there's just a lot of splitting off, and you think that person died, but they think they had a close call and were fine, and you're just kind of weird now. I really do wonder about that stuff. And the alive agains kind of hint at that, because a lot of time with the alive agains, like for instance Mandela, in this timeline he got really sick in jail and recovered. In the timeline I remember, he got really sick in jail and died. So I can only guess that he shifted to this timeline, and then I was later. I shifted to it also, but I was later than him. So I remember him dying, and then when I got over there, he was alive again. So every time somebody almost dies, I really wonder, did they die all timelines, or did they die in some timelines and they only almost died in some other timelines? Then you get into quantum mortality. Do we ever die? Will I just keep shifting to somewhere where lifespan keeps expanding? The people used to die at like 60 or 70. Like 80 was old. Like 80, you're done. Like nobody really made it past 80 when I was a kid. That was old. You were ready to kick it. But now it's like 100, 110. It's like I put on 30 years, but so did the lifespan. So I'll be middle-aged forever. I think it was closer to regular sky blue. See, yeah, I think it was the old dark sky, which wasn't so blue. So, was it that other one that changed was UK? What's the blue look like on the UK flag? Yeah, see, a lot of people, there was a time when we discussed the UK flag blue. It looks a little bit darker to me also. I don't think it was quite that dark. This might be even darker than the last time I looked at it, actually. So part of the reason is because I have these kind of expensive pottery tea set, and I do drink tea sometimes, and I got it and they're from Denby, and they have this blue that I like, but I didn't want to cough up all the money for it, so I would find them on eBay. So I had to learn all the exact coloration of all the related ones so I could see if it would match. And Denby blue was supposed to be the color of the UK flag, but Denby blue is like this. And And then they had some that they would call royal blue, but they were like the same color. Like when you got them, they were so close that you really could mix and match the sets, no problem. They changed them like one hair. And each, because they're hand done and hand glazed and everything, each one varies a tad anyway. So if you got one that was royal blue or one that was Denby blue, it was fine. They were so close. But now, I mean, like, I'm going to have to go look at those teacups because I swear they're like this blue, and now royal blue is like this blue. It's so dark. So a lot of these flags, I think, are supposed to be sky colors, and if the sky color changes, you know, this is interesting because, like, here's the sky, but here's the flag does not match. But maybe that's why we're seeing the changes in the blues. Look at this old one. See, that one looks even a little lighter than I remember, but maybe in some timelines that's accurate. Way back, I remember the sky being like this color more, like way back when I was a kid. It was kind of a turquoise color. Speaking of dying, now Michael Jackson was taken to a hospital via helicopter. I thought he was pronounced dead at his house. Are you saying they took him to the hospital via the helicopter and then pronounced him dead? I'm quite positive he was pronounced dead at his house. You know, sometimes when I hear about these things, I just kind of imagine like what it would be like if, like, say you were the maid and this happened and you got this dead guy laying in this room, and then it's like, oh, now what do? You know, you're I don't know. I can't help but imagine like having to deal with that sometimes. And so I don't, if he got stuffed into a helicopter and whisked away, then I would not, then the maids didn't have to deal with anything. He's gone. All you have to do is change sheets, you know? So that like changes the whole story for me. I don't remember that. I don't know. It probably took me a while to hunt that exact story down, but that is interesting. It's the spike protein, whether from hand or illness. Spike is glass in the arteries. So yeah, that isn't a factor that the spike protein does appear to like kind of roughen up and cause some problems in the veins. So you would have more like strokes and stuff. So heart problems, depending on where it got to. So say you got a mild case of COVID and then you got a mild dose of spike proteins. Not going to be great for you, but assuming you didn't have a lot of other problems, you probably could handle it, right? The problem, I think, with the arm pokes is then you get, first of all, it's designed to give you a pretty heavy dose of spike proteins because they want to make sure you have immunity, right? And so they're going to kind of crank you. It does seem like the athletes are having the worst problems, and it might be that they're very healthy, so when their cells get taken over, they jam out a lot of these spike proteins. So maybe that's part of the problem. They don't have fat like the rest of us, so like it's going to lodge more in their heart where they're going to have fast circulation. A lot of these athletes have really, in this timeline, when you're really healthy and you exercise a lot, your heart gets really big and efficient. Used to be enlarged heart would kill you, but now it's fine as long as it's from exercise. So they're going to have a bigger heart. They're going to have less flab. So like if I took the shot, like some of that would just end up in like, you know, arm flab or something, right? And so say there was a problem in my arm flab, not that big a deal, versus the heart, which could kill you, you know. So that could be part of it, is that they have no unnecessary parts to them. They have a big heart. They have really good health, so they're going to like create a lot of the spike proteins once they're injected. So that could be part of it. And then you get it over and over again. So I got COVID one time, was moderately sick and recovered. The next time I was exposed, my friend was in the hospital. Nobody wanted to go in and see him because, oh, everybody's got COVID. And I'm like, I don't care, because it was by then it was Omicron. It's not even that dangerous. I'm like, whatever. I went in there. I had the like tiniest scratchiness of the throat the next day, and that was it. So literally, I got like 5 spike proteins or something. That's it. So like, as far as I can tell, my immunity is jamming now, and so I'm not gonna have a big dose of spikes again. I probably won't. But these people get the shots. Every time you get the shot, you get a big dose, another big dose, another big dose. So that alone might be part of why they have more problems, is they've gotten 5, 6, 7, I don't know, what are we up to, 7 shots now? 7 shots of big dose. Plus, a lot of them got the COVID anyway. So there's just 8 or 9 or 10 big doses of spike protein, which is a lot more than like 1. So that could be part of the problem. But then you also look at like that, they're finding that the shots were kind of heavily contaminated with some stuff in some cases, like plasmid DNA, right? I don't know if you heard about that, but that's a whole nother story. It's basically the bacteria that they use to grow some of the chemicals and materials. They have their own DNA, and those are supposed to be screened out, and they weren't always. So I'm kind of walking on thin ice on here because, I have to say, in order to be safe, that the shots are safe and effective and blah, 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 or I could lose the channel. So, of course, they're safe and effective and all that stuff, and I would never tell you not to get them. We're just talking hypothetical here, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, but the point is just that there could be additional follow-on situations with that we don't fully understand. I mean, you can look at that in other places, but there's that. But from a more spiritual perspective, say that a lot of people are going to be shifting timelines. You need a storyline, right? There's got to be a reason why everybody's leaving. So if you have something in reality where you can say this is because of this, so we now have 2. Like, if you don't like the one storyline, then the other storyline. So from a really spiritual perspective, I still feel like you are not leaving until it is your time. And then when your time is coming, you will be leaving. And so in that way, I mean, it just seems to me like that is the trump card, so to speak, even though I don't really like said person that particularly much, but it's whatever storylines are swimming around out there, you're going when your time is up and not before. So it may not really matter. Like, certainly we've seen lots of people who got the shots and they're fine, as best I can tell. And it's just not their time. So it's not going to get everybody. And the same thing with COVID. Some people died. I think it was their time. I mean, it sounds callous, but, and I certainly don't want to, a lot of those people I don't want to have leave my timeline because I'm quite fond of them. But maybe that really is what it is. And so all this fretting and fretting and fretting is not going to change that. I thought MJ was found dead already, but they may have... Well, see, that's what I thought. They was dead. He'd been dead for like a long time, and dead is dead, so that was it. Yeah, dead in bed. So why would you rush him to the hospital? So that storyline, it's kind of interesting. We do see now that people can be revived after a much longer period of time without brain damage. So maybe in this timeline, they do that more because you could be dead a half hour and be revived and be fine. So maybe that's why, like, the cells just, it kind of fits in with that virus floating through the water thing. It's like the cells are way more hardy now. It used to be for me that a couple minutes, that they didn't get the blood circulation and stuff, they were already starting to die, but that's just not the case anymore. The problem is exertion. It's recommended to avoid exercise surrounding COVID and the vaccines. That's actually a really good piece of advice, though. Wherever you're getting the spike proteins from, maybe just don't push. And you know how athletes are. They're going to push. I haven't exercised in 3 days. Better get on it. I feel kind of tired. Screw that. I'm still going. It's probably just because I had the flu. Didn't really occur to them that they might have a heart problem, you know. So yeah, I do think that is likely also a factor from a logical perspective anyway. I mean, I'm still human, and no matter how spiritual perspective I want to get, I'm still making my decisions somewhat, at least, based on my biases about the nature of current reality and big pharma, you know, but you have to make your own decisions according to your opinions. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but you come back in a different body. Yeah, I don't know. It's just that we've had those alive agains, and they generally look approximately the same. I mean, you recognize them and things. So different timeline. I don't know. I feel like that's where a lot of this stuff kind of ties together and makes that more likely, though. And maybe I don't have it exactly right. You know, I might be missing some stuff, but I feel like a lot of things point in that general direction. All right, so where are we here? I have some time. Okay, this one is from the same person, commenter on the channel user. Is it a dash or an underline? It's a dash. User dash ZX8SI1ZY5E. I've been kind of looking at this for a while, but like KitKat logo, which is always changing. Well, it's changed. You know, it lost the dash. For me, there was a dash, but also right when the dash disappeared, there was still a space there where the dash used to be. And then as the shifts went on, the words kind of squished together and squished out the space. And then I've been noticing for years now, and it looks like it's like next level again. Like the K's are like getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like it's starting to get ridiculous. And so this person, users, blah, 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 I'm not saying it again, said, the K's are bigger. I'm like, they're bigger and bigger and bigger. But yeah, I do feel like they got bigger yet again since last time I looked at it. It's just, they're just like towering rafters. I'm going to be like, 10 years from now, the K is going to be 10 foot tall, and then it's going to say it. So, I don't know why. I mean, like, it's kind of ridiculous now. It's just reached a point, like, who picked that logo, man? The K's are like, they're too big. I mean, the it and the at, that still counts for something, right? So, I'm going to look and see. Let me just check the Logopedia. Logopedia. Let me just make sure I'm still on the screen here. I'm kind of falling off. All right, here we go. Okay. 1970 to present, so it never changed. The K's, they look smaller than what I just looked at, doesn't it? 2019 to present. Okay. This is also to present. This is to present. Oh, this is weird because this logo, these K's, look smaller than what I just saw. You notice when I type KitKat, I still leave the space in there. Like even there's the space. But when it's written, did they leave a space? Oh, they still leave a space. It's kind of weird. If there's no dash and there's no space in the logo, why is there a space in the word? Okay, so let's just look at these images. I mean, is it me or did these K's look a lot bigger than that they're showing here. Because to me, this is kind of the thing. The timeline cannot even get its own story straight anymore. Do you get that feeling? Like there's too many hanging chads. It just can't. It can't get it together. All right, this one where it looks a little smaller does look kind of like those. Even that one, no. Maybe this one. Nah, it still looks. But then here, this one is huge. Huge. Look, it can't even stay on the front. The K's can't even stay on the front of the bar. They're peeled around the side. How does that make any sense? Yeah, something's awry with the KitKats. Kmart. So, oh, angels don't fall. I wonder if you're from my timeline. Okay, I'm going to check this. So, I remember K-Mart being a big Mandela. In the early days, I was like about 7 years ago. Oh my gosh, the dash is gone. And of course we checked Logopedia 100 times. And, you know, I learned about Logopedia really early on in the game. And so did everybody else. They all knew about Logopedia. It was there, who knows how long, but I know it's been there since the Mandela. Last time I checked Logopedia, because I remembered the Kmart Mandela, and I remembered how big it was. I'm like, nobody's been talking about it. So I looked it up. And the reason, I think, let me see if it's still true. Oh, okay. Yeah, so we shifted since then. This is making me crazy. Okay, for a while I was in a timeline where the dash was back. And it was not back in the current logos, but it was in old logos. Like in the 60s, they had it K-Mart. That's why I'm checking again, though, because it's been a while since I checked. So I was like, so Kmart with the dash was not so much a Mandela anymore because they had once had it. But now I'm looking and it's gone again. Now I don't remember this at all with the Mart as a separate square over the K, though. I mean, all the times I looked at that, I've never seen that. Now, granted, I wasn't alive during those eras, but I have looked at this Logopedia a bunch of times. Only shows primary logo variants. Well, still. I don't remember that. Is that squished by accident? It might be squished by accident. I don't remember that. The hell? I don't remember any of these. The hell? Okay. That's from 2004? I don't remember that. Now, I remember this, but not squished. I don't remember that. Oh, this is weird. Alright, let me just look at the real thing. Oh. Crazy town. Alright, now granted, it has been a while since I shopped at Kmart. What the hell? Okay, well, there is absolutely no sign of the dash now. There's so not a sign of the dash because the Mart is on the K. It used to just be boring. It was K, Mart. That was it. It wasn't like, you couldn't even have a dash here. You could have had a dash here. This is weird. All right, every time I look at it is different. Vivian, good night. You know, my problem with like trying to break down the changes, okay? So I've seen people, this was like really popular for a little while, that people would come and look at all, like, they would list out, like, say, 20 changes and go, this change has a real negative connotation because blah, blah, blah. And they go through and say, you know, this means the devil's coming, this is a blah, blah, blah. And it all kind of, okay, I can kind of see it, right? But then another guy, like, next week would come and go, well, I think this is positive, and list out a list, and they go, see, this really symbolizes this, and this really symbolizes this, blah, 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 blah. And again, it sounded logical, and I just realized that there's like 100 different ways to kind of look at stuff. And so if you pick one of the ways and you can make it sound all negative, and then somebody else can come in and have 5 other explanations that sound way more positive. So that's why I kind of ignore those, because I mean there's just too many ways to look at it. Now we are in kind of a negative scenario timeline where people online get the most attention from the negative stories, and I don't want to feed that anymore, because, you know, I'm kind of a fan of you make your own reality and manifestation and stuff. And for those 2 reasons, that one, I feel like you can interpret this like everything can be interpreted a totally different way depending on your mindset. If you're looking for a negative interpretation, you will find it. If you're looking for a positive interpretation, on most of these, you'll also find that. Like, for the upgrades on the body, we're stronger, blah, blah, blah. You know, to me, I would think that's positive. I am stronger. I feel better. I live longer, right? And then someone comes and goes, well, that means that there's going to be, you know, a great cataclysm, and we'll need the stronger bodies to survive. I'm like, they managed to make even that negative, you know? So there's a negative interpretation to everything. And most things, there's also a positive interpretation. So that's the other reason I don't listen. I emailed a couple of Mandelas. You know what? I'm so bad I don't ever look at that email anymore. I'm sorry. It's best to put it in comments. I really do apologize. I made that email eons ago. I should remove it because I never look at it. Okay, so Kmart. See, like, I'd see this now, I go, well, that's the new logo. But, man, there was never any old logo. The K was never next to the Mart, hardly. And I don't know what's going on with this. It's all smashed. I mean, it has to be smashed, right? I don't know. Find out it was just... That was the logo. It was like... You can't tell anymore. All right, we got everything on there. Everything on there. I got everything on there. Oh, okay. I did the leaf hopper. I don't know if you did that one or not. Okay, this one is weird. We've kind of covered the wacky stuff in World War II a bunch of times, but I found another wacky stuff in World War II. Have anybody heard of, like, bouncing bombs? That they bounce along till they hit their target? I've not heard of... I mean, and they're not cannonballs, okay? Because cannonballs, yeah, they bounce and then they just smack into things. I'm like, no, apparently they had this... I don't even get it, frankly. Anti-ship was one, and anti-dam was another. Anti-ship, bouncing bombs. I'm a little confused on how the bomb knows when to explode. Skip bombing. Oh, interesting. Anti-ship bouncing bombs. I looked at this like, what, a week ago, and I did not see skip bombing. low-level bombing technique independently developed by several of the combatant nations in World War II, notably Italy, Australia, Britain, Soviet Union, and the United States. It allows an aircraft to attack shipping by skipping the bomb across the water like a stone. Ah. You know, this reminds me of something like lately on Reddit I've been seeing like these champion stone skippers. Like they take those flat stones and skip them. And used to be you skip them like 5 times, you think you're styling, right? I don't recall anybody able to skip it like 150 times. And so I think it's because the film on the water, or whatever, the water pressure is a lot stronger now, so it allows a lot more skipping. But it's interesting that I've been seeing that, and then I see this also showed up this week on Reddit. Aircraft fly at low altitudes directly at the ship. It makes, and then I guess they just bounce this bomb. They skip it along the water. It's like Crazy Town. They release a stick of 2 to 4 bombs. A stick of 2 to 4 bombs with 4 to 5 second. Oh, okay. They had delay fuses. The bombs would skip over the surface of the water like a stone. See, I don't think you could skip like giant bombs along the water in the old days, but I guess now you could have. And a similar technique was called mast height bombing, in which bombers would approach a target. My virus is going off for no reason, confusing me. Stop. Alright, where am I? They would release their bombs at 300 yards, aiming directly at the side of the ship, and practice the techniques were often combined. I'm kind of confused how this mast-type bombing is any different from the other one. The Battle of the Bismarck Sea would demonstrate the effectiveness of these low-level attacks on ships. The Battle of the Bismarck Sea... I remember the Battle of the Bismarck. I don't remember the Battle of the Bismarck Sea. The Bismarck Sea. Is there an ocean named Bismarck? Kind of confused on that one too. So apparently then these were... I'm really suspicious about this because I just looked up this on... And I didn't find this wiki at all. Like a week ago. Skip bombing carried advantages. Unguided, unpowered bombs are vastly cheaper than torpedoes. Torpedoes take several minutes to reach their target. Enough time for an agile ship to move. Skip bombing takes place at high speeds. The first use of low altitude bombing. They're just calling it low altitude bombing, but they're bouncing these bombs. Was 1939. So apparently now it's kind of a big deal. Now this is interesting because I looked at this last week and I didn't find much. And now it's like was a big old hot thing apparently. Fifth Army Air Force had already put low altitude skip bombing into place. I did not find this skip bombing word either. Had become popular in the 5th Army Air Force. B-17 heavy bombers attacked and destroyed enemy vessels, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, I think this is growing fast. So, yeah, they bounced them. So, last time I looked, it mostly just talked about anti-dam bouncing of the bombs, where they would bounce them at dams, which makes a little more sense because dams are huge and easier to hit even if the bomb is bouncing. I still don't really get why you didn't just shoot at the dam. Like, what's more efficient, shooting at the dam or bouncing a bomb at the dam? Anti-ship bouncing bomb. Okay. I'm looking at him like, is it anti-ship or is it anti... Bouncing bomb. Okay. Anti-ship bouncing bomb. Highball. I did find that one last time. Anti-ship bouncing bomb. So there it goes. I don't know if you can see that. See, it's bouncing though. It's bouncing. See, I think in the old days that would either just blown up or it would have sank. Now they, you know, I've said before how the tires don't fall down and they just keep rolling forever. Hopefully you can see that, but yeah, upkeep was for dams, highball was for ships. So there was one called upkeep, and I guess that one was for dam. So last time I looked it up, it basically said dam busting bombs was the. Let me look up upkeep. I feel like it's grown a lot since last week. Bouncing bomb. Alright, let's try this. This was, when I looked at it last time, Dam Busters Bouncing Bombs. Dam targets were immune to conventional attacks because of their size. Alright, so there's the dam. They drop it. This just seems wrong. I mean, shouldn't they just drop it and then it sinks to the bottom? But now it bounce, hits the side, rolls the bottom, and then it explodes. I guess because it's on a timer. Designed in World War II by Barnes Wallace. Alright, here's some more video. Yeah, I just don't think these things are gonna, like, do this in the old timeline. This is not gonna work. It looks like physics is wrong. It's like, no, it should sink. It hits the, I guess it, what, hits the dam and sinks? That's a dam busting bomb, so real upkeep presented in museum. The bomb was fitted with a 90-second time fuse so that if the hydrostatic mechanism failed, the bomb would still detonate. So they had two detonation mechanisms. One was hydrostatic. I guess it would know when it got to the bottom of the lake and then go off. Dam busters. So apparently they were successful and stuff. This is the bomb. There's a movie. The 1955 film The Dam Busters. Anybody ever seen that movie? The Spin Doctor. I feel like that's what's happening in this timeline. I've gotten spun. Oh. Wars would be so much better if we didn't have them. Yep, I totally agree. I would be much happier if both of the political parties stopped being such warmongers. That would also make me happy. You know, I don't know why this shows me not... It's like when I look at my OBS... It shows me clearly in the middle of the screen, but over here, I am not in the middle. I'm going to move me over a little bit, see if that helps. There's some kind of glitch between what I see, which is me in the middle of the screen, and what I'm seeing here on Livestream, which is me cut off of the screen. So I don't know why that's happening like that. Because usually they match. That's weird, because I'm looking at it here. You can't see that screen where it shows me, but it shows me much better center than that. That's why I kept checking. I'm like, I see myself cut off. I look, no, I'm fine. No, I'm cut off. No, I'm fine. Okay. We got leaf hoppers. All right. I don't know. People who like baseball. This one is from Dark Wolf's Den Show. What was the first black baseball player in America? Obviously not Africa, but yeah, first black baseball player. So this one is kind of weird because a lot of people remember a certain person. Then they're like, oh, actually there was an earlier person, but he was disguising himself as white. I'm like, okay. But really there was an earlier person. And nobody remembers that person. And this one, Jerry kind of remembers Dark Wolf's Den because he kind of follows that more. But I actually do remember they used to say, oh, this was the first black baseball player. I'm not even sure if all of the locations will get it right. Because the timelines are so scrambled that even Google can't figure it out. I don't know what's going to happen when AI gets kicked in, because I'm finding so many websites that were obviously done by AI, and when AI does them, they're riddled with inaccuracies and nonsensical statements and stuff. All right, this is the one that people remember, 1972, but let's see if I can find. This is interesting. Okay, so yeah, it is scrambled because became the first African American to play in Major League Baseball in the modern era. In the modern era. There's kind of a lot of extra stuff in here. Alright, so whoops, didn't want to do that. Moses Fleetwood Walker, 1924, was an American professional baseball catcher who historically was credited with being the first black man to play in Major League Baseball. All right, so if Jackson was the first Major League Baseball player, see, I thought he was just the first baseball player, not the Major League. I think that's how they shifted it. They shifted it to be Major League in the modern era. And when they added that modern era in, I kind of wonder if there'll be another one. Oh, but no, he was in Major League too. No, Moses was in Major League. So how is Jackson the first guy when Fleetwood Walker is also the first guy in 1924, which is a lot firster than Jackson? And he did play in the Major League. A native Mount star. Walker played for semi-professional and minor league baseball clubs before joining Toledo Blue Stockings of the American Association for the 1884 season. Oh, okay. 1884. That's, I was reading 24, but that's when he died. So 1884, he was the first black baseball player in the major leagues. Not this Jackson dude. And he's obviously black, so... Then the second one was this guy, the one after the next first was this guy White, which I gotta laugh because I guess if you're trying to pass yourself off as white, you just call yourself White. You know, William Edward White, who turns out to be black. Like, I feel so trolled. Okay, was the first African American player in the major leagues. Walker, unlike White, passed as white man and self-identified as such. This Walker guy, this white guy. I don't know. So anyway, whatever it is, it's not Jackson. Okay, you could say it's Walker, you could say it's White, but it's not Jackson. So I'm like, so our friend Jerry over Dark Wolf's Den show was like, what? This is all wrong. I do remember them always saying it was Jackson, though, and I do recognize that guy. He's the first black guy on a team, basically, is what they're saying. Eli Whitney was not black anymore either, I know. Yeah, see, but one of those guys, the guy with the last name White, he was before Jackson, but disguising himself as white. But the other guy that was before Jackson was Moses Walker, and he was not disguising himself as white. Both of those two were before Jackson, so that's what makes it confusing. Why is Jackson being said to be the first guy? And he always was. I remember him being that way. You know, this thing is still showing me not centered. I'm going to slide it over more. Still didn't look centered. Wait. That's not right. This is right. See, look, I'm still cut off on here. I don't know what's going on. Bouncing ball. I think that covers all those. Okay, for like 15 minutes. What should I have on? I have that one. I did the KitKats. Israeli flag, cancer, memories. Wait. I think I'm on here. This one's kind of related. Okay. Another question for you. What is humans' closest living relative? Like, that's not human. Like, what creature, what animal is our closest genetic living relative that still exists on Earth right now? So we're not talking like Neanderthals or something. Something that's still in existence. Is accepted by scientific community as that. So that'll clarify. Obviously, who knows how many real opinions there are, but the official word from Wiki or however. This is interesting because I'm getting like all kind of answers. Have we talked about hippos being the most dangerous animal in Africa? Yeah, that's interesting. I know they've been working on that storyline for a while. But, I mean, it's hard to imagine them being meaner than, like, say, alligators and stuff. And, you know, they didn't even used to eat meat, so why be so mean? But now they eat meat, so... Yeah, we had the first black people in the sport, and then the next one will be, who was the last white person to ever play in the sport? Alright, let's see. Pigs, cow. Now, I know they genetically engineered pigs to not have the antigen. Now they claim it's just one antigen that causes us to reject pig flesh, so they've genetically engineered them not to have that antigen. But I'm not talking about genetically engineered guys, like just living, you know, nature created creatures. So DNA wise, what animal is closest to the humankind, Homo sapiens sapiens? And no cheating and looking. No Googling, I mean, like. I got another kitty cat and brought it to its brother that I got. Oh, so you went and got the matching siblings. I've actually had pig. Ah, interesting. Pig. Now, I have heard that pigs are the closest one that they commonly experiment on. So, like, they would say, okay, rats aren't very similar to humans, so let's do pigs, because they're still pretty cheap. So what I remember is it being chimp. Okay, it was always a chimp. Let's see. Now I'm almost afraid to do the Google, because who knows if I'll find what I found last week. Okay, closest living relative of humans. This has got to be an AI. Closest living relative of humans is humans and chimpanzees. Humans and chimpanzees are the closest living relatives of humans. I guess that's technically correct, but you can kind of tell an AI wrote that. Sharing 98.8%. All right, so here's again where we're seeing a lot of divergence, because it was always chimp for me, so I'm not surprised to see articles saying it was always chimp. But a lot of places are saying that it's bonobos and chimps. Some places even say bonobos beat chimps. A lot of places are saying bonobos and chimps. And they're kind of shuffling around on their percentages DNA, because it's like 97 point something or 98.8. I don't remember it ever being 98.8 until just recently. So did we suck that bad that we have improved and now we know there's another percentage point, or what? Human and chimp DNA is so similar. There are. Who wrote this? People can't even write English. Are so similar because the two species are so closely related. Yeah. Human chimps and bonobos descended from a single ancestor. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, bonobos are in there. I don't remember bonobos being in there. But then again, I don't really remember bonobos being around way back 15, 20 years ago. Now, I'm trying to remember, are bonobos the ones that, like, shuffle around and mumble a lot, or what? Pygmy are traditionally called the pygmy chimpanzee. I have not heard of that. Bonobos are pygmy chimpanzees? Matriarchal structure. No defined territory. Don't kill each other. Oh, maybe that was a different one. But, yeah, there was no bonobo in the story for me. So I guess that's the main point. They are like mini chimps, actually. They were under the mobile home. Oh, kitties. Feral cats, but they tamed up instantly, are actually pretty potty trained. With dirt. Yeah, you can just slowly start sliding more litter in instead of the dirt, and then pretty soon they'll just make the adaptation. Um, so, like, if they're really tiny kittens and they're feral, one of the easiest way to tame them is just get a big oven mitts and grab them by the scruff, and then they'll be like, and then you have a little bottle of um, baby milk, like kitten milk replacer, in a little bottle, and you hold them by the scruff and you just pop that bottle of milk in there, and they'll go from like, I'm going to kill you, to, ooh, this milk is delicious. And like really quickly they'll be like, and you do that like 2 or 3 times, and pretty soon they start to quickly pair the scruffing and the picking up and the big fat scary human with milk, and then they change their whole attitude that you're awesome and you bring milk and we love you. So yeah, they can be tamed down pretty quick, but I would say that, you know, push them a little bit, because the older they get, the more set in their ways. So it's easier when they're little tiny kittens to just push them a little. They'll be mad for 5 minutes, then they'll be over it, versus like trying to be like all slow and gentle, because as they get older, it just gets harder to budge them into the sweet lands. They're super flexible the younger they are. Once a cat gets set in its ways, like, it becomes much more of an uphill battle trying to tame them down. Like, one thing you can do is, if they run and hide, is just block every hiding place. And then they can't run and hide, and then they're scared for 5 minutes, and then they go, oh, wait, I'm still alive. It's not that bad, and then they're over it. And then, like, 3 days later, you can remove all the blocks, because now they're not scared anymore. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I think that's involved. I'm just trying to decide which one I will put in. Okay, this one, actually, I was talking to Dark Wolf Den again, and it's kind of for Americans, like people who still work. Okay, it's been a while since I worked, but they used to take money out, and they would say, this is for, like, the government takes the money. You get your check, and there's like, this is how much you earn, and then this is what the government took away, and this is all you got left. And it was always called, there's a couple things they take out, but the big one is FICA, F-I-C-A, you know. And so, okay, this is the FICA. I've only ever heard of it as FICA, okay, but Jerry was looking at his check, and he's like, what is this business? Because he doesn't remember it, and it was the OSD, O-A-S-D-I tax. I'm like, OSD? Is that a new tax? I don't remember there being, and it was a bunch of money, you know, and I'm like, OSD? I have never heard of it, but apparent OSD is FICA. It's like the word for FICA. And see, this is from 2019. Jerry's been working diligently most of his life since he was young. So I don't think he went through big stretches where he didn't get a paycheck. May also be called FICA. I've never heard of it as OSD, because even as a kid, I'm like, FICA, what's that? And I look it up, FICA is FICA. But now it's, I guess the name of it is OSD. And it stands for Old Age Survivors and Disabilities Insurance. Survivors, I've never heard of that before. I did remember Federal Insurance Contributions Act, FICA, but OSD? And that's, I guess, from when it was created long ago, it has always been OSD. The OSD program was created in 1935. Today, it provides monthly retirement benefits. How does OSD work? Blah, blah. So I'm like, is this like, I wonder if there's any differences between the old FICA and the new OSD is part of FICA. Is part of FICA. What is OSD tax on my paycheck? So it's been that way at least 5 years because there's people asking in 2019. So I don't know, did they change it? I mean, like, Jerry just noticed it like a couple weeks ago when we were talking about it, something like that. But that it's been that way at least since 2019. Did he not notice it for 4 years? Or I've never even heard of that term for it. Old age survivors and disabilities insurance. I've just never heard of that term. So obviously this is for Americans, but have you ever heard of that? Never heard. Yeah. OSD, no FICA. So, like, when did you first see OSD? Oh, it's OASDI. Like, do you remember when you... That's how I've always heard of it. So, you remember OSD. Bonobo is a manned animal. Yeah, I don't think there was a bonobo for me way back. It's kind of been around a while, but... And it looks like a freaking chimp, so you'd be like, oh, bonobos look like chimps, you know, but... Oh, yeah, the coyotes will probably get the kittens. You're right. Most cats are not sly enough and careful enough to survive out there. Well, that is bonobos. See, I love it when you remember it like me. See, look, I'm like totally cut off now. Look at this. How did I get so cut off? This shows me less cut off, but I swear the more I fix it, the more cut off I am. Look at that. I was gone. Maybe because I went over here. What the heck? Let's see. See, even if I go over this far, I should be still on there. I don't know what's going on. How come what is being sent by OBS doesn't match? Strange. Well, I can't change anything on there. Let me see. Oh, maybe that's old. Let me just pull it up. Okay, it's fixed. Okay. I forgot it. That thing gets so far behind. All right, I don't need to be that far over. You can see my backdrop doesn't even go over that far. Okay. It still looks kind of like there's a wall and it ends in that, but that's actually my door there, and I have a little gate on it for protection. All right. All right, that explains why I look so far over. All right, got it. See, I'm kind of an airhead today. All right, wait. All right, so a bunch of yous, well, some of you remember OSD. A lifetime of toiling, and I've never seen it. So bonobo, it looks like a tiny, like a smaller chimp. It's still pretty big. They called it the, what was it, the dwarf chimp or the pygmy chimp. They're calling it the pygmy chimp. So it looks like a chimpanzee, but smaller. But not really small. It still looks like it'll kick your butt all over Dodge. Yeah. So now they're like the other one. Did I even dig that up? I don't think I digged that up worth a darn. But a lot of places are saying that both bonobos and chimps are our closest relatives. And I don't even remember bonobos existing, frankly, way back. Now, they've been around for a little while, but I don't remember. I certainly do not remember. It was chimps. It was always chimps. We used to look at chimps. The vegetarians would say, oh, look at the chimps. They're all peaceful, and all they eat is vegetables. Well, since then, chimps actually kill animals and eat them, and they're mean and blah, blah, blah. So that all went out the window. But it looks like we're getting this bonobo creature that is nicer. And so maybe they're going to say we're related to this nice bonobo later if we get to the nice timelines. That would be nice, right? So we'll get to the nice timeline, and will be related to this nice pseudo chimp called Bonobo, which already sounds like some kind of clown world thing. Bonobo. Recently came across an animal I'd not heard of, the jaguarundi weasel cat-like creature. That guy has been on. I agree that those are Mandelas. English proper bonobo like life was like a barrel of bonobos. Yeah, it's got this goofy name. I think it will sound good in a nice happy world. And OSD can go away, and we can keep more of our taxes, and we can be related to the nice bonobos. Something like that, right? Write a good timeline that sounds like fun. That's my plan. I'm sticking to it. Anyway, it's time for me to go. Running out of time. So thank you all for coming. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.